James Comey. I'm joined by Texas Congressman Mac Thornberry. He is the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and it's very good to have you here today, sir. Obviously, we're all thinking about these families and these U.S. Marines that we've lost. We have two pictures now of these individuals, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And it just makes people wonder why we can't arm them.
Well, I think they should be. But it is true that the U.S. military is a unique, powerful force for good in the world, and that will always make them a target for evil. And we can do more, I think, to help them protect themselves, especially on military installations. And so we're working on a provision on a bill that we're putting the final touches on right now that would require the Secretary to come up with the procedures to allow them to carry their weapons when they're on installations. Recruiting stations is a bit more complicated, but I think we need to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a recruiting station and then a U.S. Naval Center where those 4 people lost their lives, and we have, as I said, we have pictures of them because they're now starting to put names to faces. There's the scene, the 2 different scenes of the shooting yesterday, which was just horrific. This is Thomas Sullivan, Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan. We also know that Lance Corporal Skip Wells is the other person whose name has now been identified. Obviously, as their families are notified, we're getting this information ourselves now, and it's tragic. And Ray Odierno, General Odierno, just made some comments, and he said that they know that they're vulnerable at these recruiting centers because ISIS has said that they want to attack the U.S. military at home and hit their families. So what's being done?
Well, they are vulnerable, and ISIS has made it clear that they want to attack our military wherever they are, including here at home. So I do think it would help if they can better arm themselves when they're here at home on installations. But it's not the only answer. What else needs to happen is we have tied our hands from gathering intelligence. And, you know, you can't always find a piece of intelligence to stop an attack, but we need robust intelligence gathering, and we have been taking steps backwards, tying our own hands, making it harder to find out these people intend. A variety of things, all related or going back to the Snowden disclosures and concerns about privacy, make it harder for us to listen to communications, to intercept emails. There may have been a fragment of a communication which could have helped us onto this. The other part of it is we're not doing very well at all in fighting the ideological war. So ISIS is out there broadcasting, encouraging people, especially towards the end of Ramadan, to go out and attack Americans. There are not enough Muslim voices saying, no, don't do that. That's the wrong thing to do. And there is, as well as this physical war in the Middle East and around the world, there's an ideological war that's going on over the internet and other places, and we're not really in that battlefield.
Yeah, you know, we hear that given lip service. The president has said, you know, we need to have a stronger presence in social media. We need to fight back because one element of this fight is there, clearly. That's where they're recruiting. You know, we used to hear about people being recruited in prisons and elsewhere, but now these are kids. He went to college, and he's, you know, may have been recruited online. Certainly we've seen parallel stories that look just like that. But there doesn't seem to be any real effort. And is that because we're not willing to sort of name who we would be addressing that to?
Well, that is certainly part of the president's problem. He's not willing to speak clearly about this threat and what we face and how we should deal with it. The rest of the story is our government's not very well equipped at all to fight an ideological. We did pretty well against the Soviet Union in the Cold War, but we dismantled all those things. And so these fears that the government is somehow going to overstep its bounds with propaganda and so forth has meant that basically there's only one side of the story getting out. Now, we can't do this on our own. Muslims around the world have to participate, but U.S. leadership is crucial, and we haven't been doing very well.
Yeah, I heard an analyst this morning talking about, you know, if in World War II we had landed on the beaches and someone directed, you know, don't call anyone a Nazi while you're out there. I mean, it would be absurd. Yeah. It's absurd. Is that not an accurate parallel?
No, I think it has a lot of application to this situation. You have to be able to speak clearly about the enemy that you're facing. Yeah. You have to be able to learn all you can about them, including listen to their communications. And you've got to fight them and say Nazism, or in this case, this Islamic extremism, is wrong. If you do it, you're not going to heaven. You know, you're going someplace else. We have to have more Muslim voices push back on that.
Yeah. Well, their message is quite strong, and it's quite effective, it appears, unfortunately. Congressman Thornberry, thank you very much. Nice to see you in person here.